Festool, here for ITS TV. I'd like to introduce to you the Festool RO150 FEQ Sander, commonly known as the Rotex Sander. 150mm disc, and again, anything on a Festool machine that is green has a function and a benefit to the user. So, looking on top here, if we push this button down and to the left, we have a fine sanding mode. This at 5mm orbit. This means that we're able to achieve a fine sander, a fine finish with this machine. If we flick the switch over to the right with the bigger dots, it means we then have a sander that has a rapid removal rate. We increase the size of the orbit that the part is taken. And we also introduce the gearbox. So with the gearbox in place, when we turn the sander, you can hear that the gears are moving. If we flick it over to the side and we turn the disc, all we have is eccentric action, which means we have a fine sander. So the RO150 is able to sound very fine, but also to remove a high amount of material. It's the ideal sander for working on materials such as solid surface and also rough saw material. You work quickly and efficiently. But if you're removing a lot of material, you also need good dust extraction. And of course, with the Festool system, the 27mm hose can fit directly onto the end, and on the pad, the bigger dots, or the bigger holes, sorry, are for removal of the waste. The smaller dots will blow a cushion of air. That air is taken in on the inside of the pad, which means we keep the pad cool, but we achieve a very efficient sanding action at the same time. And of course, anything for Festool machine, we have the plug-in lead. So we can have several machines, and all we do with the plug-in cord is push and twist into place, and then we're ready for work. So, to move on to some of the other benefits of using this machine. Variable speed on the rear, 1 through to 6, so you have complete control over the material you're working on. Controlling the speed of the disc on corian or solid surface is vital to ensure a good finish quality. However, the Rotex Sander can also be converted to using for polishing as well. The discs and the pads can be removed, and so we can fit the green pad, which is for polishing, slightly smaller diameter. So if the sander is to move onto its side, it means you're not going to damage the surface you're working on. The blue disc is very, very hard. So if we're sanding on an edge, and we want to keep this corner nice and sharp, we use this pad. So if we're working again on a material such as solid surface where you want to keep the profile, that's the ideal pad to be used. So again, we can adapt the machine to suit an application we're using it for. If you're working on concave or convex or curved surfaces, we do the grey pad, soft. So this will profile itself to the surface that you're working on to give a nice finish to all types of material. The machine is supplied with a black pad, and this is good for most applications. So already from the sustainer, you have a machine that is up and ready to work. The edge protector, really important if you're standing close up to an edge, and this just stretches around and clips into place. So now when I'm sanding, if I go up to an edge, it means that the front of the sander is not going to damage this area that you're sanding up to, and nor will the sanding disc either. So again, it's a machine that can be used in a variety of areas and just for those particular applications. Okay, so the RO150 has 2 sanding modes, and we need to understand why these are so efficient with this machine. On each abrasive, individual grits will have an individual job to do, and it's their path on the sander that makes this important to how the machine is going to be working and how efficient that will be. So on here I have a 500 grit piece of abrasive. We put a couple of pencil marks on here, and we can show you the orbit size and also the sanding motion as well. So I've set the speed down to 1, and it means that in fine sanding mode, because it's eccentric, I can hold the disc. So you can see each of the grits are taking this particular path around. That gives the RO150 an efficient way of sanding fine work. So if we turn the machine over, we now introduce the gears. This is where we can have very fast and efficient coarse sanding for bulk removal of waste. If we turn it over, you'll now see a totally different pattern created. We turn the machine on, we put a pencil line on, and you'll see that the grits in effect are taking a longer route around the disc, and that's why it's more efficient. So you can see each grit is now travelling a greater distance. If it's a greater distance per turn of the pad, it's efficient and quick and easy. So the next thing to do is to sand this piece of mahogany, and we see the type of effect that we can get from this machine. I'm going to be using to start off with 100 grit abrasive. So with a multi-jet stream system, remember the big holes are extracting, the smaller holes are blowing a cushion of air. We keep this cool and we keep our abrasive cool. Both are going to last a longer period of time. Therefore your consumable costs are reduced, but they last for a longer period. So 27mm hose is standard fitting for this machine. We don't need anything bigger. I'm going to start the sanding using the gear driven mode, and we'll sand up to this position. So you can see for bulk removal it's very quick and it's dust free. So that is part of the Festool system. We can sand in a dust free environment. So the same abrasive on, I can now switch over to fine sanding. Take this abrasive away, we can then jump a few grits and we can go to a 180 grit. If I wanted to, I can use the gear driven mode. However, I've achieved a good surface finish very quickly. I can now leave it on the fine sanding mode through the rest of my grits. So with the hook and loop system for Festool, we also have an abrasive which isn't going to move. If there's any movement between the pad and the abrasive, we have a reduced effectiveness of our sanding. So you can see we've gone from a surface with planer marks and some bandsaw marks from milling to a surface which is flat. It has an even pattern across it, and we can use fine sanding to achieve a good finish. We also do this in a dust-free environment, vitally important in today's workshops. So the RO150 is a sander that can be used for many different types of applications, and with a range of abrasives and also extractors, there's bound to be one that suits you, and all are available from ITS.